And I'm Dr. Kathy. For those of you who, if this is your first time to experience Amma, you're going to get that habit. I was reading, somebody just wrote, I have a bad habit. And I just saw it and saw habit. But you're going to get to experience Amma as she comes through life. Often I will bring her in before so that I have a pretty good idea of what's happening, and then she'll still surprise me. So say heart source. And for those of you who don't know how to move into your heart source, it's very simple. We'll go through the 7 steps right now. Feel your consciousness, your awareness to move into the front of your heart chakra. That must have felt good. I think I needed it just because I'm so busy getting ready to leave tomorrow. That's just relaxing me. Now move into the back of your heart chakra. And now move into the front of the third eye. And move into the back of the third eye. So you're having your consciousness in 4 different places: the front and back of your heart, front and back of your third eye. Connect your third eye with the beam of your heart, with your third eye with the beam of energy straight up. And now straight down. So straight up's to the center of the universe, straight down to the center of the earth. Connect with your healing teams, and don't worry if you don't think you have one, you do. And we're just going to ask your healing team to please use the basic plug-in to heal and balance anything that needs to be healed and balanced in those 7 different parts of the heart source. Thank you. And I'm being told to also ask them to use the shadow removal plug-in. So Amma's calling out the big guns to get us ready. And now we're forming our healing and lecture room where anyone who reads, listens to this message is joining us no matter when they're doing it. It could be 50 years from now, could be 100 years from now. There's no time, there's no space. There's a floor of light below us, a canopy of light above us, pillars of light in each corner of the room. And it's Archangel Michael's band who is coming to surround the perimeter of the room from pillar to pillar to pillar to pillar to pillar. I don't know if y'all have been experiencing, but I have. There are dark forces that are really trying to stop us. And I don't say that out of fear, it's out of awareness. Unless I'm the only one that's been happening to lately. The pillar of light in the center of the room. And let's invite spiritual beings that we would like to join us. I'm sorry, but Jesus just came in with a crown of lights flashing around his head. He's getting ready for his birthday. This is really funny. And Buddha's there just kind of giving him a hard time, just razzing him, you know. They're good buds. There we go. Lord Maitreya is coming in. There's Kuan Yin, White Buffalo Calf Woman. A few other people that I don't recognize. I don't know their names. I've recognized them before. There are people from all different nationalities and cultures that are coming in, ascended masters who are coming in. Dwakul is coming in. Kuthumi, Hilarion. And from Telos is Adama, A-D-A-M-A. He's a Lemurian. There we go. Now, this is really interesting, but there is a young girl of about 7 coming in, and I know who she is because I had a spiritual progression with the life between lifetimes. And when I was in that between lifetimes, and I was brought to a beautiful area, grassy area, there was like a little creek or a river right there, and right behind it was a waterfall, and there was this little girl there. And I asked her, well, what can I call you? And she said, you may call me Amma. So this is the representation of Amma. And I'm being guided to say a little prayer. Divine Mother and Divine Father, we ask you to fill us with your love, with your energy. Surround this sacred space that we are in, protecting us from anything who doesn't want us to hear your message. I ask you to keep me clear so that I am a clear channel, and please allow everyone to receive the message that is exactly what they are supposed to hear. Let's all connect with the central pillar with a beam of energy from our heart to the central pillar. There we go. And if you would please also send a beam of energy from your heart to mine as I bring in Amma. Well, good evening, dear ones. How wonderful to gather together on this auspicious day. Should I say auspicious night? We're just a little bit shy of the longest night of the year. Unless, of course, you're listening from New Zealand. Then we are just minutes away from the longest day of the year. And that brings me to the energy of what I want to talk about. What you know, those of you in North America, is that we talk about the winter solstice at this time of year. It is Christmas. There is snow upon the ground in certain places. This one was just warned that it is supposed to be frozen precipitation as she drives in to Houston pretty soon. So we know that part, but we forget that with all the pictures of snowmen and the snow scenes, that it is summer in the southern hemisphere. That's what they're used to celebrating for Christmas, summer. So we have these two things going on at the same time. And we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about how that has an impact upon you. Because do you not light for the solstice of summer, dark for the solstice of winter? Do you not also have that push and pull, that struggle within yourself of the light and the dark? You are working to release the dark. You're working to release that within you which has been painful. You are working to release that which you have brought with you from lifetimes that you wanted to release in this lifetime. Because you wanted this to be your last lifetime on the wheel of incarnation, correct? Just a little side note. You may get off of the wheel of reincarnation for the purpose of balancing karma or learning more about love. But you may still choose to come back to this planet, maybe in its 5th dimensional form, or you may choose to come back to those in the 3rd dimension who did not make it to the 5th dimension this time. They have to continue their lessons, to come back as spiritual leaders, to come back as guides. And of course, coming back as guides isn't always incarnation, is it? Not in this physical sense. So I want to talk to you, though, not about darkness itself when we think of it as a heaviness, but as the darkness that you're experiencing in the northern hemisphere of where you look at the clock and say, oh, it must be time to go to bed, and it's 6 o'clock, right? And then those of you who are in the southern hemisphere, where it is staying daylight until 9 o'clock. So let's talk about what this means for you and being in the cycle of life and in the cycle of the seasons. Now, I'm going to ask you first to go into the back of your heart chakra, to go deep within to your sacred space. And it is from here that you will be able to experience many different things and many different travels. There's an altar there. Everybody's altar is different. Some of you, it looks like a traditional altar that is of stone with wood pedestals. For others, it's a side table. For others, it's just a garden of space. So now you're going to be transported. You're going to do some time travel. It's actually only a few hours of time travel. Ask to be taken, set your intention. I wish to be at the moment of the solstice. Feel that energy. We're going to focus on the northern hemisphere now because that's where most of you are. Feel the energy of that point where you have for that moment the longest night, and then it changes so subtly to bringing more light into your day. Let's talk about night, dark. What happens in the dark, dear ones? This one talked just before you got started about the oppression that she's been feeling from darkness of a negative sense. There is, however, the darkness of this night that you have transported yourself to. The darkness of mystery, of joy, of amazement, of what it is that you have been nurturing in your life as the nights have gotten longer and longer. They are your hopes, they are your dreams. It is a time of when you can come to let go of the old and to nurture that which is new. There are several on this call who have experienced deaths of family members, and it is changing their life completely. A new life is beginning. When that change comes, you take the seed, that energy being the seed. Remember what happens when there is the cataclysm of light that occurs when the sperm and the ovum come together. It is light that is seen, and your scientists have now discovered that light and seen that light. When you make that intention to bury, as in carefully burying, as in nurturing that seed within you and watering it with your intention, with your joy, that happens in darkness. Not a darkness that is negative. It is a darkness that is sacred. When you are beginning this nurturing process, it happens in solitude. It happens in quiet. It is not something that you want to go proclaiming everywhere. Those of you who have been pregnant know that as soon as people find out that you're pregnant, what happens? Lots of questions, people making comments, when there may have been times, all you mothers who were there, when you would like to just be quiet with that growing person within you. when you are bringing something new into your life, take that newness, that seed, and plant it within your heart and share it with just a very few people. Because there are others that are willing to give you their opinions no matter what. Isn't that true? And you want to focus your energy on this. Now, whether you know it consciously or not, those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, you have been nurturing that seed within you, a time of change. You have been going to bed earlier. You have been finding yourself becoming tired earlier. Nurture that within the quietness of your heart and allow that to come to fruition. There are times in this type of process in which you need to be quiet. You need to sit quietly with expectancy and with joy. And at the same time, those of you here in the Northern Hemisphere have an awareness, whether you know it or not, there's an energetic pull that is occurring in the Southern Hemisphere. It is like you're going in two opposite directions, to where now you are coming to that place where there is a gradual increasing of daylight. They are coming to that place where there is a gradual increasing of darkness, and that which they wish to nurture goes deep within themselves. It is the cycle of nature and the cycle of your life that you ebb and flow with the seasons, and you allow yourself to be there in those seasons. So as you experience the extremes in the solstice, you experience perfect balance in the equinox. That perfect balance for that moment in time where there is the exact amount of light and the exact amount of darkness. Now everyone, North and Southern hemispheres, the Northern and the Southern hemispheres, are beginning to get ready for the celebration of a new year, what you call 2018. Others also have different names and numbers and different times they celebrate their new year. But the entire world is aware of January 1st, even though it comes from the Western. That is what is celebrated as the new year. You have the opportunity, those of you in the Northern Hemisphere right now, to consciously consider what it is you wish to give birth to discover what it is you have been nurturing in the deepness of your heart during these long nights. And of course, long nights still continue for a while, does it not? You still have that sense of the darkness. See it as sacred. See it as sacredly yours, to be nurtured, in a way to be coveted, but not in a selfish manner. It is a time that you do not wish to let loose, to forget it. You don't want to forget this time. Now I want you to consider right now, what is it that you wish to begin to give birth to? And those who listen to this when they're in the Southern Hemisphere, what is it right now that you wish to plant within you to nurture and then give birth to. Now let me ask you this. If you achieved that, if you were able to do that, to give birth to that, what then would you want to give birth to? And then what would you want to give birth to after that? What is it in the deepness of yourself that you truly wish to manifest and claim as being for you in this life, to give not only to yourself but to the world? What is it that you wish to give? What is it that you wish to stand before your Creator and to say, this is what I nurtured and gave birth to, and I now return to you as my life is also gift to you, my Creator. Now, I would also like to say is, yes, there are many, many energies and they are increasing. And you can see that happening along the planet. If you listen to the news, which is not something that I suggest that you do with any regularity, if you listen to the international news, you would hear of tremendous unrest, not just in the North American continent, but all over the world, where there's questioning, there's pushing, and there's pulling. People are examining their values. Some people are saying, what have we come to? You have come to the place of coming to know what it is that you value, what it is that you will stand for. The energies are going to become even more intense, because what is happening in humanity is becoming even more intense. Just as you are experiencing on this night, the longest day and the longest night, depending upon where you live, you are experiencing upon the world a giving and generosity and a narcissism at the same time. A fear of change, which is caught up in the narcissism, and the willingness to take risk, even though there's a little fear there, but a willingness to move forward and to discovering what's in that next box over there. You have a choice to make. The choice is very simple. Didn't say it was easy. It is very simple. The choice is whether or not you are going to stand firm in your values. The choice is whether or not you are willing to let others know what your values are. The choice is also, are you willing to take the time to nurture what is planted within your heart so that you may begin this new year that is coming very quickly, less than 2 weeks? Are you willing? Are you at least willing to become willing to take the time for introspection and action moving outward? It will present itself differently from each one of you. Now, I have for you, though, as we end this conversation, I guess it was a monologue, was it not? I have for you, though, the biggest choice that I would like all of you to risk doing. Are you willing to risk loving yourself deeply and truly? Are you willing to love and accept yourself as much as the person that you love and accept the most? Are you willing to have that much love for yourself? That's not narcissism, dear ones. Narcissism comes from that deep-seated fear that you are not lovable, that you are not important. So you have to do all of these things and actions to put other people down and to disregard other people so that you can be lifted up. When you truly love yourself at least as much as the person you love the most and that you would give your life for, when you love yourself that much, all the need to have people love you and all the need to have people give you accolades for what you do disappears. Because when you love yourself that much, you are willing to give of yourself that much. That is why the masters, once they leave this earth, they take upon themselves service in ways that you may wonder, how can I do that? Remember, you go to sleep at night. They have no night. They go no sleep. They're 24 hours. If there were time, there would be 24 hours. They are always present, loving, because they have learned to love themselves. That's one of the things people don't talk about much in the ascension journey. You talk about releasing all that is not you, all that is not love. One of the ways that you will know that you are close to ascension is that you will love yourself as much as the person outside of yourself that you love the most. And that is what I hope you have been nurturing within your heart and that you will be giving birth to in this coming year. Now, dear ones, I'm not going to stay within this one to answer questions because she has been very busy of late getting ready, and so she's tired. But I will be here to whisper in her ear if you have questions. So first, let me tell you, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, have a wonderful Kwanzaa, and all of the light celebrations that are occurring last month, this month, and continuing into the next. It is a wonderful time of an experience of love and giving to be able to carry forth into this next year. My blessings to you, and yes, I am Amma, the Divine Mother of the Divine Mothers, and my greatest joy is being your mother. Okay, this is Kathy, and I am going to unmute everybody, but I would like to ask you if you have any background noise, that if you would please mute yourself. And you may not even know you have background noise. And if I can find it, I'll mute you. All right, does anybody have any comments or any questions that they would like to ask me? And I will ask Amma, and she'll whisper it in my ear.
Oh, I have a question.
Who is this?
I have a question. It's Mary in California.
Hello, Mary in California. And what is your question?
My question is, when you get off the wheel of incarnation, can you die and be off the wheel of incarnation, or do you get off the wheel of incarnation and you're immortal in the body?
Well, that's an interesting question, and that is actually a choice that you make. There are beings that are walking around now upon this earth, Saint Germain being one of them, who is still incarnated. And so you can make a choice of what it is you're going to do. Somebody's moving around some dishes in the background. If you mute yourself, I'd appreciate it. It's okay to eat. Did that answer the question, Mary, or did you want something deeper? Did I lose you, Mary? Okay, I'm going to mute everybody, and you get to unmute yourself, okay? Oh, good. That ended that part that I heard. Okay, Cleo, I see you're unmuted. What would you like?
Well, it's a kind of a comment and a question. Very often, Amma has said in the context of our calls and things that have happened, well, what do you want to do now? What are you going to do next? And I don't have a clue. And I don't know how to know. So that's my question.
Is how to know?
No, tell me what I'm going to do next.
Well, I can tell you that the first thing you're going to do is to take care of all the stuff you have to do after your husband's passing. So
Yeah,
that's going to take care of a lot. And then as you release the physical things that you need to release, you had sent me an email about all the things that you were donating and things like that, that makes more space for you to discover what it is that you want to do. And remember that people think, they have a tendency to think, well, it has to be, well, I have to be like Jesus, or I have to be like Buddha, or even I have to be like Kathy and go do what she's doing. And that's not true. Sometimes it's your job is to be there and to be light, so that that light can emanate out into the world. And if you want to listen to the news, I would suggest that you only listen to the news long enough to find a place where you say, that's where I'm going to send my light. I'm going to send my light to North Korea, or I'm going to send my light to the Sudan, or I'm going to send my light to Somalia, or I'm going to send my light to our mayor right now. Find that place of where it is that you want to send your light and to be light. Because being, like Amma was talking about your values, living your values and talking about your values, that doesn't always mean that you're going to be standing on a soapbox somewhere, or you're going to write a blog post somewhere, or put yourself out there. Sometimes it simply means that you are going to be true to yourself and hold whatever it is that you need to in the light. People have no conception of what the power of prayer really is, and of what sending light is.
I would have thought that description is what a light worker is. And I, at least, but I'm sure all of us, we've been light workers for years and years. I love sending the light.
and keep doing it. And you send light and you can do it consciously. So some of us aren't required to, like I'm getting ready to go home. Anybody else going home for Christmas? Going somewhere else? You're going to be with your family for Christmas? You know, I can't remember who it was that said, if you think you're enlightened, go home. Because then you discover all of the places that you're not enlightened, all of the old stuff that comes up. And so we continue to do our work into releasing and knowing that there is more light there, that we can then send out the more we release of the negativity. And it's important. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to add in that there was a woman that spoke on Facebook earlier today, a Native American woman. She was talking about praying over water and how water then evaporated into the clouds. And so basically your prayers went from the water that you prayed over into the clouds, through the world, and because it was still the water, the original water that was with Earth. And it was a very interesting talk. If I can find it, I'll post it to mine so you can check it out, Kathy.
I like that image, Sue.
Yeah, I did too.
I like that. That's a really good physical image of what, to me, of what happens on universally as we send out light. We get all this, the ripples that go out, and you can see it with, I like that, with the evaporation. It's almost like offering sacrifice with sage or burning something. Excuse me, burning something.
Yeah, and she even mentioned Emoto in there, but she was a very an older Native American woman that had apparently had some significant experience with water that spontaneously started up at her house, coming through the ground.
Ooh.
And now 2 creeks that divided on either side of her house.
That is so cool.
Really.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Well, I'm going to hush now.
All right, I'll let you hush. Anybody else? I see Karen, you're unmuted. Did you want to share something or ask something?
Yes. The video with the Athabascan woman in the water, she was basically letting everybody know that there is a consciousness in the water, just as there are in the trees and throughout nature. A beautiful, beautiful video. One of the other things about being a light worker, you don't always have to send out your light. Just being a good neighbor, helping anybody out in any way, giving of your time, that is being of service as a light worker too.
Very much
so.
Now, my question for Amma is, I'm having a difficult time with health issues, living below the poverty line. I splurged today and bought a lottery ticket, but that doesn't mean I'm going to win. I would like to know, I'm on government assistance, but I would like to know from Amma when my finances are going to change. I have a lot of stuff to do, and I know that I'm supposed to be of service in a greater capacity. So whatever Amma has to tell you is fine.
Well, what she's telling me is we had where was it? Oh, it was the encodement intensive that we just did on depression. And she took us through a process of breaking vows. And she says many people go through the process of breaking vows. However, they do not put in new vows in its place. And it was a direct result of a session that I had with a friend of mine just before I gave the encodement intensive. And I did live with a vow of poverty for 20 years. And so one of the things is that instead of just having a vow of poverty, then also ask your healing team, your encodement team to connect the energy, create the energy of having a vow of abundance, having a vow of prosperity.
Sounds good.
So try that, Carolyn.
I will. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, Kathy, it's Mary
Hi,
in
Mary.
California.
I
As
think
soon as I asked that question, my phone dropped me off the call.
that's
I didn't hear the
I thought I
answer.
had lost you.
Yeah, and okay. So I'm sitting here thinking, do I need to know the answer?
So ask your question again.
It was to get off the wheel of incarnation in this reality. Can you do it both ways, like dying and leaving the body? Or when you get off the wheel of reincarnation, are you an immortal with a body in fifth dimension?
So you mean the body being immortal?
Yeah. Like,
Yes.
do you get off the wheel if you drop the body? I think you could do it either way, but I'm curious.
Yes, you can definitely do it either way. And that there are people who will drop their body, and if they move their vibration up and down to where, if you're in a fifth dimension, you have to move your vibration down some to be able to become physical in the third dimension or in the fourth dimension. And so there are people that will make that choice to go up and down and with the body, and they choose to manifest themselves in a particular body. And it could be the body of your last incarnation, or it may not be.
Is that how Saint Germain does it?
Yes, Saint Germain, he's, like I said, he's still incarnated, but he actually has the same body that he uses. He just dresses differently. You know, when you're, perpetually 30 or however old he perpetually looks. But when he is coming in his master level, like as I relate to him as someone who helps me with business, he asked me to call him Marvin, is that when I think of him as Marvin, and he's dressed in Eastern European clothes, which are a little bit different than the Western European clothes. And he doesn't have to do much to hide himself. He says he likes to wear a little mustache sometimes. He enjoys doing that sometimes. He just told me that. But then when you see him and experience him as Master Saint Germain, that's a whole different energy.
Lord Saint Germain.
When you see him as that, then that's a whole different energy.
But those are aspects.
True. And that's what we get to choose, though. Does that help, Mary?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. The energy was awesome, 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 awesome.
Okay, thank you, Carolyn. Okay, does anybody else have anything else to say?
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. I was thinking about the vow thing. Think about the new vow you would like to make for your life.
Consciousness. The water is listening to us.
Yeah, I just posted that water thing.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Send it to you, Kathy.
Coming up out of the ground.
I can hear it, so we'll see where it is. I'm going to mute you, Sue. For some reason, I'm having a hard time muting people. But anyway, I would like you to consider a new vow that you would like to have for your life.
Okay.
Maybe it is a vow of good health. And you might need to, because, when we're kids, sometimes we come up with different things, like maybe mom paid us extra special attention to us when we were sick. We thought, oh, I think I'll be sick more often. And I remember when didn't want to go to school for whatever reason, I ran the thermometer under the water. I'm sure other people here have done the same. Mom kind of figured there was something going on when it said 107. But But what if we made a vow at that time? Not a formal vow like I did when I was a nun, but we make a vow to ask for the dismantling of the energy of that vow of bad health. And then say, now I vow good health. Now I make a vow for abundance. Now I make a vow for longevity. I heard somebody say something.
Oh, I had started to say that what basically came up all of a sudden was a flashback to when I was 12, just before my mother passed away when I was a child. I had a very abusive father, and I used to think of it as a belief, but I think it's more of a vow that I couldn't wait to get away from the house and leave because I was a depressed child and I was traumatized. I was traumatized every day by my father. So I need to go back, and I definitely need to work on that, because when I thought of it, my goal was to leave the house as soon as I was 16. And I did. I ran away when I was 16, and I had a hard time finding a job because nobody wanted to hire me because I was 16. I was back in the early 70s. So that makes sense. I do need to go back.
Good.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So let's all do that. What is it that you want to manifest that you vow in the way with? If you're having trouble with your health, make a vow for good health. If you're having trouble, just a vow for prosperity instead of a vow of poverty.
Our life on earth.
A vow of trust instead of a vow of fear. And put that energy within you so that that energy assists you and is really in you and forms a foundation, and plant that within yourself. Well, I thank you for joining us on this. This was really lots of fun. It was wonderful to have Amma in this way. Y'all have a wonderful Christmas. For those of you who celebrate Hanukkah, I think y'all have already finished Hanukkah for those who celebrate that. And many, many blessings to you. And I need to do this more often, I think. It's fun. Take care.
Group.
Yeah. All righty. Blessings and love to all of you. Bye.
Blessings and love. Bye.